pantograph right here. All right, so a pantograph is a mechanical linkage connection. All right, it's used in a multiple ways of engineering and mechanics, but the whole point, or the base, is that it's all based on parallelograms. All right, so that the movement of one, in our case, a pin, will track the other movements. All right, and so it's basically a tool that allows you to trace images. It produces identical movements of that second pin. All right, so if a line drawing is traced by the first point, so we're going to use multiple points. If it's traced by the first point, an identical and enlarged or miniature copy will be drawn by the fixed pin on the other side. So here's how we're going to get this going. The first things you need are cardboard, all right, or chipboard. We're using the back of an old notepad, all right, so it was pretty easy to cut up. We're using scraps. We have a larger piece of drawing paper, construction paper, computer paper will work just fine. We need 3 metal brads, that's going to be the linkage part, 1 thumbtack, and then you're going to need something to punch a hole in the ends of our cardboard. So you can do a screwdriver. I'm taking actually the end of a compass because it's pretty sharp, and doing that. You can also take the thumbtack and pinch a hole in that. We will need ruler because we're going to be measuring out our cardboard, and some sort of pencil or whatnot, and then some tape. So first thing that we need to do, and I've already done this ahead of time, is we need to measure out our cardboard. So we're going to need 4 strips that are 11 inches long by 1 1/4 inches wide. And then we will need 4 that are 7 long and 1 1/4 inch wide. So the next thing we need to do, on each strip, you're going to start at the end and measure 1/2 inch, and then from that point we're going to mark every 2 inches. 6 marks along the longer strips and 4 along the shorter strips. Alright, so once we have marked, we are then going to punch a hole at each of those spots. So I marked along the edge, but I'm marking a hole, punching a hole in the center of our strips. So you're going to do that for every single one, all 4 of the long 11-inch ones and all 4 of the 7-inch ones. Then you're going to take 2 of the longer ones and you're going to tape. And so you're going to tape them together, but make sure that the holes do not get covered up. And so I'm just going to tape it at both ends. So that way they are not covered up, none of the holes get covered up, and so it'll look like this. After we have done all of that, so we have 4 pieces now. 2 of them are shorter, 2 of them are longer. All of them are taped at the ends, but there is a hole on the other side of the tape. All right, so the tape is not covering up any of our holes that we've made. So the next thing we need are okay? So a brad is going to allow us to have that linkage point, all right? So we're going to connect the two longer pieces at the ends. So all we're going to do is punch the brad through that hole on both ends. And then the brad, you should be able to bend over. So then it can still move. All right, so this is our pivot point now. So we're going to do that on the longer pieces at one end, and then we're going to do the same to the shorter end ones, but here's where we're going to decide how big or small we want to do this. All right, so fasten the two smaller strips into the center holes of the long piece. All right, so these longer pieces have holes that we marked. You're just going to pick one of those. So we're going to put the brad through one end of the shorter, like so, and then we're going to pierce it through the second hole. So we have one, then two, and we're going to fix the back. We're going to put the other brad at, and be careful, these brads do bend very easily, so you can always, if it bends the wrong way, bend it back. All right, so we have it through, and we're going to put it through the second hole on this side. So we want them to be even, all right? And so it'll look like this. On the back, I have one brad, two brads, three brads. So these are all movable, fixed points, okay? All right, so now we have our contraption made, all right? First thing we need to do, what I would suggest is taping your paper down to the surface that you're going to be drawing on, all right? So I found an old piece of wood, all right, that I'm using as a drawing surface. So I taped my piece of paper down onto that. The other thing that you're going to want to do, this point right down here, this is going to be your fixed point, meaning it is going to be the thing that does not move. The one point, all of these others are going to move. We don't want one of them to move. So this is where the thumbtack comes into play. And so I would suggest not putting this onto a surface that you will need to keep nice, right? So I found an old piece of wood. If you have a piece of cardboard, you could also not use the thumbtack and just hold it down, okay? And so make sure that this point does not move. This point over here, the longer end of the the other end of the 11-inch, this is going to be where we put our pencil. This is going to be the one that actually draws the image larger. This point in the middle is where we will actually trace. So I'm going to draw with this pencil, and then this one is going to make a larger image. So we are a part of a FTC, which is a robotics program. And so I'm going to draw those out. And so it doesn't come out very dark, but we can see right here, there's the F, the T, and then the C is kind of skewed a little bit, but see how small this one was and how big this one turned out. And so if we want it to be even smaller, we would just move our brad to different points, and that will give you different sizes of the image that you want to recreate